paper was little easier than 2019 and 21 comparably. So English was very easier than last 4 year. RCs are very easy. They are not very tricky. Not directly factual questions are asked mainly. So paper was easier.
Okay,
And
so were there any surprises? So were they following the same pattern like 30 questions MCQ, 15 short answer, and 45 verbal?
yes, sir, 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 it
Okay,
was
so
the same.
pattern, there was no change in pattern. And
No,
any
sir.
surprise element or anything that you found different from what you have been told or you have been practicing? Anything that you did not see before?
Sir, yes, sir.
Anyone?
Yes, so I was saying, like in terms of different, it wasn't very different, but like certain topics which were given a lot more weightage last time, like matrices determinants is a very high weightage topic last time, like there were 4 or 5 questions. This time there was only one question of matrices, so one or
Okay.
two if I'm not wrong. So I feel like weightage chapter wise varied a lot this time, but other than that, paper pattern was the same.
Yes, sir. Sir,
Okay.
difficulty levels also changes, right? For the last 4 years, we consider log chapters and algebra were little moderate level, but this year the algebra like log chapter are little more higher tougher level, and also yes, as you see that matrices is on lower side.
Okay. So, was there more weightage on, say, data interpretation type of questions or pure arithmetic questions?
No, sir, 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 it is same side that like last previous years.
Okay, so you can see that if you will look at the IPMAT 2022 paper, it was more or less similar. There was no
Yes.
major changes this year.
Yes, sir. But if we see the arithmetic was little higher than the past year papers. Like TSD questions are somewhat higher. Like difficulty levels some high, and
Okay,
number system questions were also like MCQ and some first question I think is tougher than a number system question. That remainder questions is
all right. And what about verbal ability? Out of 45 questions, can you recall some of the questions that were there? Can you come out with at least how many RCs were there or things? Were there any vocabulary questions?
yes, sir. There were vocabulary questions, and there were easy vocabulary question, not very
Easy
tough
vocabulary.
vocabulary.
Okay.
Yes, sir. If we compare vocabulary with Rohtak and Zipmet, vocabulary were easy. Vocabulary was easy, and
It was
RC was all
easier than Jepmat and Rohtak.
yes, sir.
Okay.
And sir, RC is also very easy, not very tough RC.
Okay.
Little harder than Rohtak and Zipmet, but very easy comparatively for last 3 4 years of IPMAT. It is very
Okay.
easy, and sir, parasamples were also easy, not very tough and tricky. And paper
Okay.
was like we can attempt are there many people who attempt all questions of VARC?
All right. So Aditi, how much do you think? How much did you attempt first of all, Aditi as well as Arpit? How much did you attempt out of all the questions?
I don't remember the exact number. Short answer, even if I didn't get a few, I just guessed what I thought would be an approximate answer. So I attempted all. In terms of quants, I'm not completely sure how many I left out because I was just running with the time. And verbal, I left I think 3 or 4 questions. Two from unjumble and one or two from vocabulary.
Okay. What about you, Arpit?
Sir, I attempted around 10 question in short answers and 36 question in VRC, and in quant I attempted 22 questions.
Okay. Okay. I have been talking to other candidates also, and they said that short answer section was quite difficult this time, was very hard. Was it so?
Sir, not as compared to 2019 paper. Like some
Okay.
questions were there, uh, only one or two max to max three questions were there that were little higher than paper. But overall paper was moderate level, easy to moderate we can call it.
Okay. So overall, given the difficulty level of GIPMAT and Rota, this was definitely way tough. But compared to last year, it was more or less similar. There was no increase in the
Yes, sir.
difficulty level of Indore, so per se.
Yes,
And
yes.
what do you think? I mean, since it is the case, we can assume the cutoff also similar to last year. So are you hoping to breach this 260, 270 mark?
So, but sir, my VA was a little weak, so I'm
Okay.
hoping in VRC, but my short answers and QoS I would difficult. I'm an accuracy of 90 to 95% accuracy. I did with. So
That's good. That's good. All right. Okay. Two more people were about to join. I don't know what happened. Just give me 1 second. Let me see what seems to be the issue. Just 1 second. Okay. Adesh and Shreya are about to join. I've informed them again. So again, if you can recall any questions so that we can have some idea about distribution of say for example, how many were from logarithm or matrices or profit and loss. Were there any questions from averages? Were there any questions? Can you recall that if,
yes,
to whatever
sir,
extent?
sir, there is no question from I think average and allegations. There is no question, and
Okay,
from log there are one question from short answers and two question
okay,
in quant. Am I not wrong? And
okay,
time and work short answers and time and work was in only in short answer. There was only one question there,
okay,
and in percentages also in one question which is in short answer.
okay.
Or there are five questions of so there is one new question of a short answer of games and tournament in short answer. There
Games
is a
and
new question.
tournaments, I said.
So one question of games and tournament in short answer.
Okay, okay,
Or,
okay.
or sir, there are some changes in past years question like maximum minima questions were algebra, but now this year is not there.
Okay. Aditi, can you come recall some of the questions that out of say 30 questions in quant, can you
Yes.
categorize them in the category of algebra, averages, profit and loss, work time, work distance?
Sure, sir. So first of all, I think I'll go with logarithm. Logarithm was a lot of the paper. There were a lot of logarithm inequalities as well and normal logarithm questions. So that was one thing. Then in terms of arithmetic, there was time, speed, distance, like mentioned in short answer.
Okay,
Short answer in MCQ, I don't recall. I think there's one in MCQ as well as a short answer. Time and
okay,
work, there was only one question, which was a very simple question in the short answer questions.
all
Um,
right.
and there was one question which I missed out, but I think that was from the Venn diagram concept, if I'm not wrong, whatever I could grasp of it.
Okay, Venn
But
diagram was
I'm
also
not sure.
all
I'm
right.
not completely sure about that one question, sir. So like arithmetic was a very, very small part of the paper. It was mainly mainly like a lot of logarithm, a lot of matrices, like I'd
Algebra.
mentioned previously, algebra, yeah, algebra and geometry as well. There were a couple of questions from there was a certain question where it was like you have to find the ratio of the median, the altitude to the median. So that was one question that was there. So there
Okay,
was a lot of that as well.
all right. And similar exercise can you do for verbal also? Can you recall some categorization about the verbal section?
Sure, sir. So in verbal, it was the same pattern as previous years. There were the fill in the blanks questions. And the
Okay.
words were not that hard this time, according to me. Then there were the idioms where you had to just fill in the idiom in the sentence. There were a couple of questions of that. Then there was rearranging the sentence. I think about 15
Okay.
questions from 11 questions from reading comprehension. Both the reading comprehensions were easy. They were very factual
Any
based.
idea for
And
any did they give the source of reading comprehension, or can you make out from where they must have picked up those passages? Like were they looking
so I'm
like
not sure what was the.
Sir, there are some
newspaper
Yes, yes, sir.
editorials or something like that?
So I think the second one looked like an article from a newspaper directly because it was about
Okay.
Apple coming in India. So it was like a direct newspaper excerpt is what it sounded like.
Okay.
So that was
and
that
sir,
second one. And the first one was a generic essay about health and how it's important. Fitness and
Okay.
sleep is important.
health and obesity. Sleeping
Yes.
insomnia का सर.
Okay. Okay. All right. So it seems that not that difficult a paper. I mean, quite doable from what I can gather from both the experiences that you are sharing.
Yes,
Because people were anticipating quite a difficult paper after giving an easier paper in terms of Rohtak and IPMAT. Indore has this tradition of coming up with the most difficult in comparison to both of the earlier paper. And so, are any other examinations are you targeting after this, or was this the ultimate examination of this session?
For me
no, sir.
personally, so this was the last exam. Other than this, I've done CRIS, Symbiosis, and NMMS, the same trial.
So you have written symbiosis, right? That happened on 6th May.
Yes, so I did in Symbiosis.
Okay, okay. All right. So just 1 second. Let me see what happened to the other two panelists. Okay. Okay, she's joining in a while. 1 second. Okay. So she must be here very soon. Meanwhile, can you tell me how our marks have been, what the marks that you have been attempting with time? Were they of similar nature, or were there any different from the kind of questions you experienced? Any changes that we need to make, or anything that you found was surprising in the sense that you were not exposed to those kind of questions?
If I
No,
could
sir.
take this up, for me, it was personally, I think the mocks had a lot more focus on arithmetic questions, which wasn't the case with the final exam. And I mean, like more than the mocks, I think it was more about like the teaching, where I had a little bit of an issue where we want like topics like permutation and combination, and there's like a certain concept that seemed distinct and distinct to same those important concepts. There were a lot of questions from permutation combination in the paper, and those I was finding it hard through what I learned in time, because I think we covered it in a very small, like in very brief, the permutation combination chapter.
Okay,
So
so
that was
more
one thing
emphasis
that I
should be given to permutation and combination type of questions as per this paper then.
yes, sir. Permutation combination was like super important. Even probability, there were a couple of questions.
Okay.
So those were a few topics. Even like binomial theorem, like I feel like that wasn't covered completely in the classes either. So I think like a lot more higher order maths, like to put a little more focus in the mocks as well. Like right now, it was a little more arithmetical, like because of the previous paper patterns.
Yeah, but
But like looking at
sometimes
this, I think it would be a lot.
like in JEPMAT, there was no higher maths. So
Yes,
it keeps varying from paper to paper also. So was there more higher maths in Indore?
Yes, sir.
yes, so
Okay,
for sure.
Yes, sir.
okay,
Like binomial theorem, matrices, sir. These topics are not very clearly attempt in classes also. Sir, they are is
okay,
sweetly covered in class.
okay. All right. So more focus on higher maths as far as Indore is concerned, more focus on permutations and combinations and these type of topics. All right. So, anything else you would like to add? Because I don't know what is the issue with Acha Shreya has joined now. Let me just add her. Hi Shreya, can you hear me? Hi Shreya.
Yes, sir. Good
Okay.
afternoon, sir.
Hi. Wait a minute. I think my camera is not visible. Yes. So, Shreya, like I was talking to Arpit and Aditi, what they have been saying was there was no surprises, there was no change in pattern. The paper was definitely difficult than Rohtak and JIPMAT,
Yeah.
but also not much different from what was expected comparing the last year in the paper. So, what is your take on it? How did you find the paper, and how much did you attempt? Just share your general experience first.
So I have attempted 70 questions out of 85. There were 15 from the essay. Pattern was the similar as the last year. The paper was for me was little tough. but still I tried to attempt more and more questions.
No, you said 75, 70 questions out of 85, but there were 90 questions, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
No,
Yeah,
so did you
yeah, I
attend?
have attended 70 out of all.
Okay, all right.
Yes, sir.
So, how was the short answer section? I'm hearing that it was quite difficult for some students.
Yes, sir, it was difficult.
Okay, so difficult than previous years.
Yes, sir.
And what about the verbal ability? How did you find that?
Verbal ability was pretty well for me. Like I was able to do lots of questions, whereas reading comprehension was easy for me.
Okay,
And the other verbal questions were also easy as comparison to quant and the essay.
compared to quant and short answer,
Yes, sir. Pretty
verbal
easy.
was okay. All right. So again, like they have recalled some questions, some question types in verbal as well as quant. Can you recall some questions out of the 90 questions that you saw? Can you recall any questions in verbal and quant? That can you categorize them with how many were from work time and work distance, percentages, algebra, matrices, logarithm, DI?
So basically, the questions from logarithm were 2 to 5. Like
Okay.
more questions were there from the logarithm, and
Okay.
the other questions were from algebra, which were pretty harder. Whereas
Okay.
verbal, talking about verbal, so there was 2 paragraphs. One from which I think from uh, the passage related to the sleep disorders, and
Okay.
the second is uh, it's for
I'll tell you.
Apple iPhone.
Okay, yeah, Aditi told about that.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
all right. So you did not find RC much difficult. It was
No.
quite doable.
Yes.
Short answer was difficult for all of you, and there was if I start putting the range, so I can say the quant MCQ was difficult or very difficult, difficult or
Was
Moderate.
moderate,
moderate,
Moderate.
like
moderate.
difficult. For me, it was difficult.
Okay, so
For me,
okay,
was
moderate
between
to
moderate and difficult.
between moderate to difficult, and short answers
What answers were, sir?
Fine.
Yes,
Moderate.
sir. Moderate to difficult.
moderate
Moderate.
to difficult,
Yes,
and
sir.
verbal
So
ability
easy for this.
Easy. Well, easy.
easy. Verbal ability was the easiest section among the.
Yes.
Okay. All
Sir,
right. So
sir, there are
yeah, yes,
so
sir.
there are some repeated question like sir log question. Last year were also like power question, log 2d power something. This are also this question of equation of log 2d power equation. Yes, sir. So
Okay.
log was repeated permutation. Topic was there was little weightage for permutation, but more weightage for probability. And sir,
Okay.
arithmetic is very low in percentage, like only in essay. There's mainly, I think only 2 or 3 question in 30 out of quant in MCQ questions.
Okay.
But sir, overall, sir, are from algebra questions, sir.
Okay. And how is the interface like in short answer questions? How are you interacting with the interface? Were you typing out? How was it working?
So it was the same as time only. We were selecting the numbers on the platform on the graph.
Okay, okay, the
Number bar
kind
was
that you
given.
are used to from the time frame.
Yes.
All right. All right. So, Shreya, are you planning? Was this also your ultimate examination, or are you giving any other exam after this?
No, sir. It was the last.
Okay, for this season, it was the last.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. So, all right. Thank you so much. If you wish to anything, would like to summarize in conclusion, if you wish to say anything. What are you expecting? What could be the cutoff in your opinion, if you have any idea? Because last year cutoff was 260 to 270. So what
Yes,
could
sir.
be with this difficulty level? Will it be the same, or could it go down? Could it go up?
It will go down. Definitely, it will go down.
Sir, but in sectional in English, I think the cutoff will go
Cut off.
high, something higher will side.
For
But in
verbal only.
Yes, sir. But in quant and essay, the cutoffs were like sir previous years.
All right, all right, all right. Okay, thank you so much for your time. Aditi is also on the way only. She has not even reached home. So, thank you, Sarfin. Thank you, Aditi. Thank you, Shreya. All the best for the results will be coming for JIPMET also, for Rohtak also. Rohtak is already here. All right, so thank you so much. I'll,
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having us.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you.